They call him a rebel, a threat to democracy, even a terrorist. But to millions in Burkina Faso and across Africa, Captain Ibrahim Traoré is something else. A savior, a symbol of hope, a soldier who chose his people over power. The first president in the history of Africa to be protected not just by soldiers, but civilians. Imagine a military head of state being loved and cared for by ordinary people.
If they dare touch Ibrahim Traoré, they will regret. We are ready to go and fight that.
Now the question is, why is Burkina Faso, which is the third largest gold producing country, be so soaked in poverty with over 40% of its land territory controlled by jihadists? Why does the West want him dead? Why does the US government send a black general to disrupt his good works to his people? In this short documentary, you will discover the untold truth about the most loved president in Africa, President Ibrahim Traoré, and his fight against corruption disguised as democracy. My name is Israel Onodare. This is the Evidence Room. In September 2022, Burkina Faso suffered its second coup d'etat in less than 9 months. The 34-year-old Captain Ibrahim Traoré seized power, overtakes Santiago Damiba, who led a coup in January of that same year, citing the government's failure to curb jihadist violence. In a televised address, Traoré justified the takeover, stating that Damiba had failed to address the escalating insurgency that affects Burkina Faso northern region. The move shocked the international community, but to many in his country, it was seen as a necessary step. People quickly noticed the striking similarity between Traoré and Sankara, who was a visionary leader of Burkina Faso, but was murdered in cold blood on 15th of October 1987 by the oppositions of the country's growth. Both men were captains, both came to power at the age of 34, and both wore the symbolic red berets. Born in 1988, Ibrahim Traoré pursued education before military. He studied geology at the University of Ouagadougou, where he was known as quiet, intelligent, and reserved. He chose to serve his nation by joining the military in 2009, enrolling in the military academy. 2 years later, he was promoted to lieutenant and sent to Morocco for anti-aircraft training. His breakthrough came in 2014 when he served with the UN peacekeeping mission in Mali. He led his unit through a complex assault and earned a reputation for his bravery. But unlike many officers, Captain Ibrahim Traoré didn't just take orders. He started asking questions. Why, despite billions in aid, Burkina Faso keep losing territory every week? Why were the French troops stationed in the country if attacks were only growing? Why was the country consistently topping the list of the world's most displaced crises, with nearly 10% of its population forced to flee their homes due to violence and insecurity? And why were the nation's mines being drained by foreign companies? Why citizens couldn't access basic needs? Those close to him describe him as fearless, deeply loyal, and always fighting alongside his men. Promoted to captain in 2020, Traoré became a vocal figure among frustrated junior officers. One story from that year stands out. As jihadists approached a town and the main road was mined, Traoré led his men cross-country through a dangerous terrain to relieve the town, arriving just in time. The jihadist insurgency has devastated Burkina Faso. Over 2 million people has been displaced, and as of 2022, more than half of the country was outside government control. Attacks by groups linked to Al-Qaeda and ISIS continue to spread, fueled by poverty, inequality, and ethnic tension. In January 2022, Damiba overthrew President Kabore, promising to restore order, but under his rule, attack increased and soldiers of the front line went unpaid. As head of artillery in Kenya, Traoré repeatedly visits Ouagadougou, pleading for better logistics and leadership. His concerns were ignored. The breaking point came in September 2022, when 37 soldiers were killed in an ambush near Djibo. And just days before, Damiba had taken a large delegation to the UN summit in New York, sparking outrage at home. On September 30, Traoré and his allies moved. Gunfire erupted in the capital. The coup was swift. By October 1st, Damiba was accused of seeking refuge at the French military base, triggering massive anti-French protests. Eventually, Damiba resigned. At just 34, Captain Ibrahim Traoré became a transitional president, and that was just the beginning. Since taking power, Traoré has expelled the French forces, suspended military accord, and leaned towards Russia for security and partnership. In August 2023, he met with the Russian President Putin at the Russia-African Summit, wearing his now famous red beret and gloves, delivering a fiery speech that called out African leaders for begging. Instead of begging, he said, and I quote, "We must stop acting like beggars. We must feed our people, defend our territory, stand like Sankara did." Since Ibrahim Traoré became the president of Burkina Faso, people became happier. They said it couldn't be done, but in the heart of West Africa, something is quietly rising, not with foreign aid, not with photos, but with power, with projects that are reshaping the entire nation. Today, I will show you 10 bold moves Captain Ibrahim Traoré that are changing Burkina Faso forever. It started with tomato, or rather, millions of them, rotting, wasted, reimported as paste from Europe at triple price. Now, that has ended. Burkina Faso has built an $8 million tomato processing plant, one factory, jobs created, farmers empowered, imports reduced, one fruit turning into a national strategy. Next is the road, because tomato needs market and market needs highway. The $120 million road to Ivory Coast corridor is more than concrete. It is economic liberation, linking farmers to the port and a landlocked country to the Atlantic. Built by locals, for the locals, it is no longer about surviving, it is about connecting and competing. Now let's talk about the light. Yene is Burkina Faso's largest solar program, bringing clean electricity to 150 villages and over 300,000 people for the first time. Light in classrooms, power in clinics, no diesel, no outrage, just freedom and powered by the sun. And as you all know, you cannot build a nation without healing its people, so he built hospital. In Bobo Daolaso, a state-of-art regional hospital is bringing modern healthcare to people who were forgotten. Maternal healthcare, surgery, digital health, plus a training institute, so Burkina Faso can grow its own doctor. And what is power without water? In Ouagadougou, water shortage used to mean panic, so he built the Ziga 2 Dam, which gives clean water, solar pumping stations, filtration systems. Hundreds of thousands will now have stable water in homes, hospitals, schools, because water is not a privilege, it is a right. And what about shelter? For too long, city meant overcrowded slum. Now, Traore is rewriting that story. 50,000 new homes, affordable, durable, and designed for the people, with clinics, school, road, green spaces built by local hand for the teachers, for workers, and for you. But a home means nothing without financial freedom, and that is why Burkina Faso created its first ever state-owned bank. This is not a bank for the elite, it is a bank for the people. Rural credit, micro loan, woman-led finances, all in local language and all backed by the national pride. And next is digital power. Burkina Faso is building data centers, digital ID systems, and mobile services for government, schools, businesses. No more red tapes, no more foreign servers. This is data controlled by Burkina Faso for Burkina Faso. And again, what about clean waters in the city? Over 600,000 have a piped access. Another 400,000 have improved sanitation, modern drainages, public latrines, sanitation in schools and clinics, managed by digital system and monitored by the people. And finally, improvement in livestock, which is the rural economic backbone. Traore government launched a full livestock modernization plan, veterinary teams, vaccination, feed program, processing centers for milk and meat. This isn't just tradition anymore, it is strategy, and it is lifting millions out of poverty. Tomatoes, roads, water, solar, hospital, homes, banks, data, livestock. This is not noise, this is nation building, and Burkina Faso is not waiting for help, it is rising on its own terms, one project at a time, and the world can no longer look away. Now the real question is, why does the West want a good man like President Ibrahim Traoré dead?